Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Longley's Line Podcast. I am your host, Stephen Longley. Remember to like, follow, subscribe on all of our social medias. Stephen Longley for me, Longley's Line for the show, Lightstyle Studio for our studio here. And as you folks know, every week we bring on a person from the entertainment industry, whether it be actor, director, musician, producer. This time it's no different. Today we have Mr. Johnson.
Thank you very much, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for being here.
You can just call me Zach if you like.
Zach, we can do that too. So before we get rolling into anything, go ahead and promote all your social medias, wherever you'd like anybody to find you, anything you have coming up, anything like that.
Cool. So first and foremost, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Mr. Johnson in Reno. We just did a gig last Saturday, 8/5 at 40 Mile Saloon, and I had a friend come out and he recorded the whole thing. So
nice.
We should be able to get that recording up on Bandcamp soon. I'll get the Bandcamp put together. We'll get that plugged in. Check out the social media so you know what the Bandcamp's going to be. And pretty much just that. And also make sure you check out Mr. Johnson's Roundup September 28th, Thursday at Alturas Bar.
Alturas Bar.
In the cellar, yeah.
Nice. So first thing I really like to ask is, where are you from originally?
So I was born in Auburn, and at a year old we moved to Carson City. And so I grew up in Carson City and moved here to Reno when I was 15. So pretty much native of the area.
What part of Reno?
So we moved over off to the Mira Loma kind of area, Sierra Madre. I ended up going to Worcester for the remainder of my high school career. And I did a little bit of ICDA as well. And actually did not graduate from high school. Ended up being a dropout, but that's the musician life. You think everything else is more important.
Yeah, I get it. As soon as my senior year started to come along and I was injured from football, I was like, I'm here.
Right.
Whatever.
Yep.
So while you're growing up, what did you want to do for a living? Did you have kind of an idea of maybe I'll be a vet or a firefighter or something like that? Did you have kind of an idea when you were a kid?
I guess you could say I had a high and a low aspiration. I was a huge fan of Alton Brown, and I loved Emeril Lagasse, and I got super into Rachel Ray in her first show, the 30-Minute Meals and all that. So as a child, I actually really liked cooking and music at the same time. So around 9 or 10, I kind of just this is what I want to do. And I ended up actually playing drums. I've been playing drums now for about 20 years. But I started out as a drummer, and growing up, my music taste was kind of in between hair metal stuff that my dad was into and some more of the newer radio rock. And then my mom was into hair metal, but she was also a Garth Brooks super fan.
Okay.
And I'm saying super fan.
Even Chris Gaines and everything.
We had the Chris Gaines record. There was a week sometime when I was a kid that Garth Brooks went to go train with the Padres in Florida.
Oh, wow.
And she flew out there just to go take pictures of him.
Went to hang out.
Yeah, she just got back from Vegas for his first show residency at the Caesars. It deep.
She
goes deep, and so lots of the radio country from the early '90s and stuff like that growing up, and I just always loved music. I tended to go towards my dad's side with the hair metal and stuff like that, and so I just ended up wanting to be a drummer, and I started kind of progressively going into crazier stuff. And I used to play in a band called Murder Rock, who was a local band here, and we were kind of like Gwar with theatrics, and all of our music was horror movie based, and it was a lot of fun. It really was a lot of fun, and I had a great time with those guys too. And just things ended up changing too. I had started getting crazy into foxtrot jazz, and I've always loved country, but always kind of hated it at the same time, because being a punk and a metalhead, you're like, oh, it's the devil. It's totally wrong. But you get older, and it's country music has been pretty damn punk rock for a long time.
Yeah, especially if you look back into its history, like how we were talking with Hank Sr.,
Oh, yeah.
You look back into the history of everything, and I was kind of the same way when I was growing up. Dad, same thing, hair metal.
Yeah.
Mom, funk. So Earth, Wind, and Fire, Kool and the Gang, just a tiny little Mexican lady running around blasting Let's Groove,
Did you go see Zapp and Roger? They played during the weekend, man. Zapp and Roger.
I wanted to. I knew
Not Roger. Roger wasn't there. It was just Zapp.
It was just the Zapp.
It was just Zapp.
Which is okay. I mean, you want Roger and Zapp, but I'll take either one. But when I was growing up too, that I was never really into country music coming up. But then songs would come out and they'd kind of catch your ear, like Montgomery Gentry, Hell Yeah. That was one of my mom and I's, that was one of our jams. So I was really into that, and then started getting into it while also still, like, in the back of my mind, nobody listens to country.
Guilty pleasure almost.
Yeah, I don't want to listen to that while, like Brooks and Dunn is right in my ear.
Oh yeah, dude. If everyone sings to Neon Moon, it doesn't matter if you do or do
Can't
not
help
like the song. You have to.
Yeah.
Or Boot Scoot and Boogie. Actually, funny thing too about that song. Growing up as a metalhead and like punk and stuff, I was a musician before my dad was. So he in my teens started picking up the bass, and he ended up joining a country band.
Oh, wow.
And the first gig I ever played on stage was actually with him in this freaking country band. We went up to Redding, California for an event called Shoe Stock, which was a big old horseshoe event at some dude's backyard. It was beautiful out there, but and scorching hot too, middle of the summer.
Yeah.
But I played Boot, Scoot, and Boogie. That was one of the 3 songs we ended up playing. We played that one, Guitars Cadillacs by Dwight Yoakam, and we played this other song called Drinkin' Thinkin' by some guy up in Canada. I can't remember his name, but just kind of a, normal honky-tonk 90s-esque type tune.
Yeah.
And it was a blast. It was a good time.
It keeps fueling the fire for actually enjoying the country thing.
Absolutely. And, at the time I was like, I'll never do this again. I don't want any of my friends to know what I'm doing. Like, I'm just on holiday, or whatever. But,
Yeah.
it's all good experience. And I'm just so appreciative of, I guess, music in general now, of any genre, any sort. I love music of all types.
Yeah.
I really do.
I'm really the same way, except my only one is I as much as I try, I can't do screaming. As much as I try, I can't do it.
I can.
I understand. So many people can, and I get it. But it's just, for me, it's like I'll try my best. But if there's singing involved, I will sit through screaming. No big deal. But everything else, you turn on my playlist, and it's just got a little bit of Biggie, then Hank, and then it's got R&B or so. It just goes all over the map.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
And
One of those screaming bands I like would be probably one of the biggest influences of my high school would be Black Dahlia Murder. And it broke my heart when the singer Trevor had committed suicide. And I just got to spread awareness about that always, of course.
Yeah.
And especially in music too. You think people are like the most laid back, great time having fun type stuff, but you just never know. But anyway, I love Black Dahlia Murder, and even in Murder Rock, actually, as I played drums, I would do screaming backup vocals. I was the backup vocals for that band too.
Yeah.
Man of many hats, I guess you could say.
Is that kind of how you found that you wanted to more frontman things because you were drumming behind the scenes, or did you already have it in the back of your mind?
If you asked me 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, if I was ever going to be singing country music or fronting a band, I probably would have said no.
Sure.
But, I mean, because, again, I'm a drummer, and they're in the back. I could just hide behind the people, let them do their thing, and I just sit down, play the beat, and shut up and get paid and have fun and stuff.
Yeah.
And being a cook, too, I cooked in restaurants for a long time, and I was back of the house. So it's kind of that whole behind the scenes again, not on the front forces, not the Marine of the choice. But over time, I just, people love music, and I love music so much. And I found myself singing and listening to it more than I was playing drums to it, just because sitting down and playing drums is such a big production. You have to have the right place for it, too, as well. You can't just live in an apartment and start beating on them. And electric drums are also no fun for me. Like, I just can't get behind them.
It's not the same.
It's not. And even then, like, you're still banging on stuff. Then they can hear it under you if you're in an apartment or whatever. It just doesn't work out. But, it just kind of formed into, I think I can do this. And it's funny. Have you ever seen that movie, The Other Guys?
Oh, yeah.
So, when Mark Wahlberg goes in there and he starts spinning around and he's dancing, and he's like, "Why can't you love me?" And they're walking out, and Will Ferrell's like, "How did you learn to do that?" He's like, like Muck. We used to make fun of the kids for doing it.
I used to make fun of the kids down the street.
I used to just kind of satire, sing country music, and I started listening to it more and more, and I was like, damn, I can actually really do this.
Yeah.
And, the more and more I just kind of sang it, I was like, all right, maybe I should try doing this. And my father got cancer and had passed away. And, you know, just when you see mortality in front of you and you get that harsh, you know, like slap in the face of like, this is what actually happens to people. He passed at 49. So
Yeah.
I just turned 30 this year. So like, I'm already feeling like time's ticking, and I got little time to get out there and either make a stamp on the world, the community, something,
Right.
anyone, you know,
Yeah.
anything. And, I don't know. I just kind of decided life's too short for me to be sitting in the back and letting everybody else take care of things when I feel like I artistically have something to offer, but I just didn't feel like I was doing anything. I hadn't done a music project yet where I was in full control of it, or where it was, you know, what I felt like I was being able to express emotionally and spiritually and all that stuff.
Right.
So I just decided to take the leap and do it, and I've been doing it now. Live, I've been playing with the Mr. Johnson, you know, as the group or whatever, for about 2 years.
Wow.
Did solo for a while, and then I had picked up a bass player who was phenomenal, but he has his own aspirations of leading his own band, you know.
Sure.
And so now I actually have a full band almost, missing a guitar player, but we'll get there. But yeah, we got just about the full band now, and hoping to kind of take off a little further, and I'm just even more so just kind of hoping to build a scene in town, just so people can come together, and so that there is the availability of original music. You know, I keep telling myself, if people don't think that there is a place to do it, then they won't try, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I will say that since I've started doing the roundups and since I've started really pushing locally and stuff, I've seen a couple new bands pop up. I've seen some more people start coming out and doing some things, and I have a Facebook group as well called Nevada Underground Country that I do, where we're just sharing gigs as much as possible, sharing just things of the like. I mean, it's really just about anything, just country music.
Get
for
all the
most part.
performers coming in that.
Right, anybody that's going to be
like
traveling through,
mindset.
get them. Yeah, and it's more so just like West Coast even, not so much Nevada. Like, you know, we want California involved, Oregon,
Sure.
Washington, Colorado, Arizona, Utah, everything.
Yeah.
Anything out here just to spread awareness, and so people can find a place to get informed.
Yeah. It's much like how Reno is with a lot of things. It's a lot more artistic than one might think. So especially if you drop a line out there, you never know what you're going to hit.
For sure.
Because a lot of times in Reno, especially coming from like the acting scene of it, is there are so many different people that want to direct, want to produce, want to act, want to model, want to sing, want to do something, and all you have to do is just find those kind of like-minded people
Right.
that also want to do it. And
That can be tough.
it's tough, especially if you don't have anywhere to go.
Right.
Like, because we have Pure Country, which is there.
And I love Cindy and Todd. They're doing a phenomenal job over there.
Yeah.
And
Jeremy McWigan, the DJ,
Jeremy
he
is
was
doing
on the
great
show
over there. Yep,
previously.
Yep. I was
like-
actually going to bring that up. And, you know, even speaking of those guys, when other people start doing stuff like that, then it also creates a gap for what I'm doing, which is more of the underground.
Yeah.
I guess you could say honky tonk style stuff, where, you know, the bands that go through Pure Country, although they are very skilled players, some people don't really see how being a musician. There's two different ways you can kind of go about doing it professionally, in terms of I want to make money with this and or just continue to gig. And Pure Country caters to the more cover band scene, which I do that as well. You know, I have 3 hours of covers that we can go do and play in a big event or play somewhere where there's families and stuff, and it's okay. I have to watch my mouth because I'm used to playing in bars, but but they're doing a fantastic thing there, but they don't necessarily do like, you know, a full lineup of 4 or 5 bands doing original music because they only have a half hour, or if they're just trying to get something together, go meet other players, go meet other people that want to listen to that type of music. I mean, the alt country, as it's considered, alt country is getting really popular, and you know, like I was saying with those guys, they just create kind of this gap of like, well, now there's not really the you know, I guess you could, I wouldn't say lower, but just the other aspect of country music that needs to be addressed. So
Yeah.
with that, I decided, you know, let's do something, because there's a lot of folk music stuff going around as well. Spike McGuire and Greg Gilmore are fantastic at what they do over there, and totally great guys. Love them to death. In fact, I'll be going to go see Greg Gilmore next Wednesday, April 16th, I believe, at the Nevada Museum of Art for.
Oh.
Yeah, there should be a gig going on
Great.
there. Check that out if you're able to. But you know, they have the folk side of it down, and kind of that whole portion of it, and it leaves the honky tonk. There's no just downright
There
bar
really isn't
honky tonk and stuff. So
a
I'm trying.
honky-tonk.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm working on it, and it's definitely coming quite along.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty nice, and people are enjoying it. So gonna keep moving along.
That's really all you can do.
Yeah, for sure.
You think about it too, it's like, you hear about pure country on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
And it says, oh, Reno's one and only honky tonk. And it's like, it's fun. And,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
love Jeremy, everybody that's
Oh,
there.
yeah.
And
No,
it's
it's great.
it's a great place to go and dance. And
Oh yeah.
the only problem is that
And the beer's cheap too.
beer
Honestly,
is
it's
cheap.
cheaper than
That
majority of
is the
places
nice
in town. It's the
Yeah.
best, and that's. I mean, I love it, But
Yeah.
at the same time, like, I'm just not listening to that kind of country music. I'm not
Yeah.
out there square dancing or line dancing or any of that type of stuff.
Yeah. See, the problem with that is that is what I am doing. However, that is what the entire room of people is doing.
Yeah.
Or everybody is there to dance, and that's fantastic. It keeps
Yeah.
the business going.
Yep.
But then you get out on the floor and you're just,
Yeah, trying to get out of the way.
sorry,
And
here I come.
they're not shy to come tell you to get the hell off the floor if you have a drink on your hand. Cindy will come
Yeah.
bite you, man. She'll get you.
Which is good.
100%, yeah, because you don't need people falling. I played a gig out in Winnemucca, and this guy was kind of hammered, and he ended up dropping a girl, and he got laid out because of that. So no drinks on the floor,
No.
everybody.
I've been there before where as soon as it gets a little bit past midnight, everyone's like, it's fine, don't worry about it. But there are still plenty of people on
Yeah,
the
for
floor.
sure.
Somebody steps, instantly goes down.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
one of those disclaimer, if you're dancing, do not bring a drink on the floor. Just don't do it. Like,
It's
you
easier
never
to
know
not.
what'll happen.
It's easier than not.
Set it down. Who cares?
You have
You'll
friends
be
at the
back.
bar, right? I
Yeah.
hope.
Hopefully.
Or not.
We'll see. Or ask.
If you're there alone, what do
somebody.
you got to lose?
Who cares?
Yeah.
You'll get a new drink. So
Maybe.
I agree with that because when I first came into kind of like the country scene for going out and enjoying live music and everything, we had a multitude of things. When there was Gillies, GSR had stuff going on.
Novi and stuff.
Novi, everything was really flourishing, and then Gillies closes down. The DJ who was at GSR, he passed away, and then they could never find a really steady person just to take over, and then that ended up closing down. So now, as much as pure country is great, there isn't exactly what you said, something for kind of the alternative bands that want to get out there, that want to play, that maybe we'll toss in a cover or two. But if they want to play something, everybody that's out there wants to listen to music, and then they can go out and dance if they want to. Like,
True, or even if I mean, even for the guys that they're just trying to get their chops together and they want to come out and just play 30 minutes of covers of some old, outlaw, honky tonk, whatever the heck,
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be old outlaw, whatever, It can be any type of country music because, I haven't cut my record yet. We're still kind of working on it, and, getting bands. Members is really tough to get together and stuff, so it's just been kind of an uphill battle, but
Sure.
we're getting there, man. Eventually we will crest, but it's just supposed to be a place for people to be able to just enjoy country music in general, really.
Yeah.
And I just hope people can get behind that, and I know there's enough people around here that want that stuff too.
there's definitely plenty.
Yeah, because I feel like no matter who I talk to, they're like, "Oh yeah, I love country music, but I don't like radio country." It's like, okay, well, you don't go out. Do you go see any bands that do that? Oh, well, no, because nobody comes through Reno. Reno's a tough place, man. Reno's a tough place.
Yeah.
Cypress is doing pretty much all of the alt country, underground country type gigs for any type of traveling artist that actually has somewhat of a following, But as much as I love Cypress, they don't cater to the local scene kind of at all.
Yeah.
They kind of treated it more like how Virginia Street Brewhouse has treated the local scene, which is like, well, what can you do for us,
Yeah.
as opposed to, yeah, sure, we'll just stick you on a bill, give you a shot, whatever, which
Yeah.
you got to have a standard, I suppose, with your production company. I couldn't tell you. I mean, I don't know. There's times I go to VSB and that place is empty, and I'm like, what standard? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
there's times where it's like, okay, yeah, the place is packed, it's doing all right. But if you're not helping out the local scene, they're not going to help you out for your off days and all that stuff. And Cypress and that and VSB are kind of that way with that, which can kind of suck. But again, you got to have you have to uphold a level of of stuff. So
You've got to cater to your locals.
true. Well, and you also
'Cause
got to make money.
A lot of the times, we have so many acts that come through Reno in GSR, the Nugget. You have so many
Oh,
big
yeah.
names that are coming through, and even somewhat smaller names can still pack a house somewhere.
yeah.
But we have a multitude of local bands that could come up and just play and then
True.
show what they have, and then people are there to just see a local band.
True.
Have fun.
And
you know?
and it kind of deviates too from, like, I'm sure some people are like, well, go hit go hit the open mic, because there are quite a few open mics in town, and I think they're great places for
Yeah.
people to get out and meet people, because anyone that runs any of the local open mics is a great person to get connected with,
Yeah.
and to show your skills to, because that can open a great couple of doors for you. But at the same time, like, you can't expect an open mic to be a place for bands to come on, like, oh, you get 15 minutes tops or 3 songs.
Yeah.
And, like, to have a whole band come out and do that production is really unfortunate. And then they don't get paid for it. Doesn't help anybody out. Even if it's just coming from the metal and punk scene, it was like, you're going to go play a gig, and it's like, do you even have gas money to get home? Does the band even have enough money to get cheeseburgers afterwards? And, this was 10, 15 years ago when cheeseburgers were just a couple bucks.
Yeah.
Instead of 15, 20 now, where you have to get at least $100 to, have the band floated for at least food.
Yeah, show me the dollar menu. You mean the $5 menu?
Yeah, no. It does. It just, and that
Yeah.
really sucks for people, and it also doesn't make them it doesn't inspire them.
Yeah.
So, just trying to create open availability. And again, Reno is definitely up and coming. There's a lot of people that I think should enjoy it, and we're doing it.
Yeah.
And Alturas is a great little spot too, man. It's one of the oldest bars kind of in Reno currently, and it just has a good, to me, I don't really want to say, dirtbaggy feel to it or whatever, because
Sure.
I'm not really like, but
Not a
it just
dive
had,
bar,
yeah,
yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
real, it's a real deal. It's
a nice bar.
It is,
Yeah.
and the cellar's super cool. I love the cellar too. I've worked with Dennis for years and years and years, even back when it was on Studio on 4th when he was over there. And Dennis is fantastic, great dude. But 4th Street's great too, man. We love it over there
Yeah.
on Alturas. It's
You
a
have to
great spot.
take what you have, and then
Yeah.
hopefully somebody sees. It's much like how, coming from the actor's standpoint of things, it's you have to take what you have and then hope somebody sees something, and then it can grow.
For sure.
Kind of do whatever you have.
For sure. Well, we're definitely starting to pack Alturas. We get a good head count through there. And for a Thursday night, we do pretty well.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to talk to Dennis here soon after this next roundup, maybe get it on a Friday or a Saturday.
Yeah.
Because that's probably one of the biggest downfalls of country music in Reno is it's all on the weekdays.
Yeah.
Me and a couple of the, I don't want to call them higher ups, but some of the more the dedicated people to the Nevada Underground Country Group, we go to gigs a lot, and that includes weekday gigs. And 2 of us work from home, so we can get away with it. But the rest of them are just looking at us like, come on, guys, this is
Yeah.
horrible. It's already 12, and it's like, jeez,
I was thinking
Yeah.
about bed at 9:30. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're drinking, and then all of a sudden the bar's kicking you out, and you're like, crap, I do have to work tomorrow. This is
Yeah.
not going to be fun. So that sucks. But, like playing on Saturday at 40 Mile last weekend was awesome.
Yeah.
And the people behind, like, my back is right basically to Virginia Street, and there was a bunch of people on the patio there screaming at people to honk their horns and rev it up and stuff. So throughout the live recording, you can hear a bunch of hot rods just wah, 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 which is super cool, though. Like, at first
People
I was
getting
kind
into it,
I was
yeah.
kind of upset about. I was like, man, we're doing a live recording, and we got all these people revving up their cars and honking in the background, and it's like, but wait a minute, it's Hot August Nights in Reno, and we're doing a live record, that has them in the background hollering and clapping and revving their engines. That's actually wicked. That's way cool.
Feed into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they actually didn't even disturb it that much, and it only got like 2 or 3, I think, spots where it's like, damn, they're revving it. But
Yeah. Where it's
I'm
noticeable.
a wrencher myself. I want to hear it too, man. Give it to me, Let it ride.
Yeah. Why not?
Yep.
So, going back a little bit, when you realize this is kind of something you want to continue, do you remember what your first gig was? kind of
Oh.
going full blown country into it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was at Virginia Street Brew House, actually,
was that one,
funnily
yeah.
enough, and it was a promoter that I'd worked with for a long time, and she had me come out just to do a quick gig, and because she needed to fill a date, and I was like, oh yeah, sure. And so this is pretty funny actually. So she books me with these other guys called what were they called at the time? Oh man. Now they're called Holy Catholic Social Club. They're up in Portland area now. They were
Okay.
called I can't think of it. Tommy and the Tongues. I don't know if you ever heard of them. So
It sounds familiar.
so
but-
you know, it's my first gig ever, so I have a serious amount of family and friends there.
yeah.
Pretty much all family and friends. And
Right.
we filled VSB up pretty good. There's probably about 40 people are there or so or more, which was nice. And then Hollywood Trash played after that too, which is another local band, which they're great. They're a cover band, but they are some phenomenal players. But so I played my, 30, 45 minutes or whatever of just me up there singing acoustically solo, which I thought was totally just drab and like lame. I never was happy with the solo performances. It just to me was never like something to offer. But
Yeah.
then Tommy and the Tongues goes on, and they're like total fun, kind of Western rock and roll, like alternative band. And the singer starts singing his song. He's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And he drops his fucking pants in front of my whole family, basically, like my mother's out there, her twin
Yeah.
sister, a bunch of family friends. He drops his pants and he's in his underwear. He's just like singing his song, woo, and jumps off and starts running around. And everyone's like, what in the hell? He's even telling us like, you guys are lame. You guys are not a fun crowd.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, it's like, oh, dude, they were so awesome. Me and my girlfriend were just over there jumping around like, yeah, because we're total goofballs.
Just having a good time with it.
Oh yeah,
As
oh, yeah.
it should
we're
be.
goofballs. Well, I don't want to say we're dirtbags, but we're dirtbags.
There's this one show I listen to that the show's called Are You Garbage?
Are you
And
garbage?
they bring comedians and other people on and they talk
good.
about their childhood growing up and things that they have now where they're like, so what did your dad do for you? And they kind of go back and you're like, really?
You're kind of garbage.
And you kind of want the stamp of approval that you are garbage. And you
Oh,
think about that and
man.
it's like, well, I've done shady shit and I don't mind if a band comes up and does all this crazy shit. Like that's the fun part about going to
Right.
a show
yeah,
that you're at, you're not at an arena or something
True.
and you're just having fun with the local band that's
Yep.
trying to have a good time and get
Just a
something
response.
out of it.
Get a response, yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely, yeah, for sure. And that's kind of what Mr. Johnson prides off of. You know what? Actually, while we're here, I'll even pull these out for you. I got some stickers for you. I just had, this is my newest one. I'll show it to the camera too if you guys want to see it. That's the newest Mr. Johnson. And
The
so in
Mr.
between the H
Johnson.
and the N, there's actually the Nevada symbol, but there's some other
That's
PG
awesome.
ones for you. But
Well, I don't know if you noticed this, but stickers are my favorite
Well,
from all of the previous
there you
guests
go.
that we've
Hell
had
yeah.
on.
So I nailed it on the head, right?
They're my favorite.
I'm
I
still
love
working
them.
on getting more merch. Actually, I had hats and shirts and stuff, and generally the hats are like my slogan, which is "fucking A." Or I also have some other hats that say "country music, my ass," just because most of the time people are saying they like country music. I'm like, yeah, my
Yeah,
ass. You don't
country
actually listen
music,
to
get
country
out of
music.
here. And then
Yeah.
a country song comes on. And
Yeah, my mom's like, I'm going tonight in the country. I'm like, great. Hardy's gonna play who?
have fun.
Yeah, he plays rock and roll.
Yeah.
But
But
no,
you
so yeah, we're totally that way. We're total, bar, just have fun, adult,
yeah.
because I'm a copious pot smoker. I don't even drink too much, but of course I like drinking too.
Yeah.
I'm a gin and tonic drinker, and I will dabble in other things too. I guess you could call it California sober if you're like really living in California, But
Yeah.
no, it's all about just having fun, having a good time, and just melting them daily woes away.
Yeah.
The stress of a bullshit job, of even just the existential crisis and stuff like that. Just whatever, man. Come have a drink, enjoy yourself, listen to some music
Yeah.
that isn't hard on the ears. Like with the
Yeah,
screaming
that's
and stuff.
fun
Exactly.
to listen to. Because I'm right
Exactly.
there with you when it comes, because
Grab a chick and start jumping.
right before anything started here, it's like we're trying to get sponsors for the show
Mm-hmm.
for drinks, because, we have drinks on the show, but it was like if a dispensary came in and I could get my gummies for half off or something crazy like that,
Oh, yeah.
that would be fantastic.
I've
That's what I'm
I've
here
definitely
for.
been working with as many people locally as I can to do that type of stuff. I know Soul in Washoe Valley does music and stuff, but they don't do solo. So I've been just working hard getting a band together so we can get that going.
Sure.
And then like in terms of booze too, like Verdi Local Distillery is badass. We've gone out there and played there before, and they have some killer boozes. And then, you know, as a gin drinker, my favorite gin actually is a local gin, Cemetery Gin. And they sell that.
Cemetery
It's
Gin.
in Virginia City. They use local juniper berries and stuff like that.
should kinda
They
wanna
sell
write
it
this
at
down.
Total Wine, and they also sell it at the Visitor Center up there at Virginia City. And it is, in my opinion, the best gin you can buy. I mean, better than, you know, what is it, like Botanist or any of that other crap. I don't
Have
know.
you tried the? It's, you know, the mainstream one, but the Aviation Gin.
Oh, that the Ryan Reynolds gin or whatever.
Yeah.
No, not so much.
So I actually tried that one, just kind of thinking I had a gin and tonic. I'm not a huge gin guy because when I was younger, it did not go well.
Most people don't like gin.
See, I never
Almost 10 out of 10 people tell me like, "Oh, you're a psychopath."
I
drinking
never
that."
minded gin. The only problem was that when I did dabble in it, I was much younger and it was in a plastic bottle. So that should have told you how good the experience was going to be right away. So I stayed away from it for the
I don't
longest
think
time.
gin in a bottle ever amount like in a not.
If you could throw it against the wall and it
Yeah.
hits you back in the face, it's not a good
So
gin.
here's another funny little story talking about gin in a bottle. I was at Moon Rocks last year for Memorial Day weekend. Remember what happened then? I was literally 25 feet away from the dude that blew his hand up.
Really?
There's if you watch the video, you'll see the guy here. Like if you're looking at it like towards him, he's standing down here. There's a rock right up here that's next to a crack where everyone kept driving. I was on that crack, just like 2 or 3 row people behind, because
Oh,
if
shit.
anyone came gassing up there, I wanted to like have a little bit of buffer of meat to save me.
Yeah.
But I'm wearing a orange and like blue Mexican blanket because it was cold out there, surprisingly. But I had a 24-ounce like water bottle, and I had it full of gin and tonic. Full of gin and tonic. And that whole night I was out there just sipping on it, and people around me started falling off like, "Oh, I don't have any more booze. Oh, we're out of booze." And I'm just like, "I'm good, bud." And
I'm
then
doing
dude
all right.
blew his hand up, and that was it for the night. They
Yeah,
they
I
couldn't
would
recover from
imagine.
that. Dude. People tried staying out there and doing stuff, but they couldn't recover. It was
It's kind of hard when
It was
the
rough.
man's hand is.
oh, dude, it was
Yeah.
rough. It
Yeah.
was rough.
But the Aviation Gin, that one is actually.
Sorry to derail it.
No,
that
you're
hard.
good. Don't
Oh,
worry.
man,
Because
dude.
when I saw that video come up, and I was like, "That's at Moon Rocks." Like
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been at that exact
I was
spot
there, dude.
before.
It was wild. I saw a bunch of people circled up down at the bottom there where he was standing, and I was like, "Oh, I better go down there," because they were like taking pictures of something, and it was flesh on the ground. So I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna go down there," and I started trying to kind of like scale down the rock a little bit, and I fell, and I fell back like this, and my phone came out of my hand. I slid down the dude's blood painted rock and broke my phone screen. It's still broken. This
no.
crack that's right there, that big one, that's from me falling down the blood spattered rock to go see it. And then when I get down there, I was so trashed because I had a 24-ounce bottle of gin and tonic.
Yeah.
I get down there and I'm like, oh, and I take a bunch of pictures. The next day I look at them and it's just blur.
It's just all blurry.
It was just
I
blur.
don't even know what that is.
No. So that was a waste of my damn time and broke my damn phone.
But you were there for that viral video,
I was, I guess.
so that's something.
Yeah.
But I'm with you on that because I think about, like I'm not a huge beer drinker. I more prefer, like whiskey is kind of my go-to. But after just kind of, do you have the Aviation Gin? And I tried a gin and tonic on that. Delicious.
Gin and tonic.
It was actually really
it's
good.
So good, man. I dig it. I only honestly switched to drinking gin and tonic because, well, it's stupid. It's stupidly my choice, but I've been gaining a bunch of weight working from home now.
I get it.
I'm sure. Yeah, I was gonna say I can only imagine like half this town understands, but
Yeah.
I gained like 45 pounds in a year almost, which was like out of control, and so I had to slow down on the Coors Lights.
They tell you too, if you want to have a drink, the clear liquors is the best way to go.
Right. It does still
And
have
that's what
calories to it. It still is like, I think a
It's
shot
still
has
got
still has like
something,
65
but-
calories to it, and Coors Light has 100 calories or whatever, and then
Yeah.
everyone's like, well, I'm drinking the Truly or whatever those crappy
Yeah,
drinks
it's
are.
only 100 calories. I've had 7.
It's the same thing as a light beer. Just drink
Yeah.
a light beer, because then you're not as lame.
Yeah. But then I'm also on the other side where I'm a Guinness man.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So it's
Oh,
that
yeah.
one thing where they say it's like
Ugh.
eating a loaf of bread. It was like,
Ugh.
well, I've never,
Yeah.
eaten a loaf of bread and then waking up in a dumpster naked.
True.
That's
True.
One's more fun than the other.
And the IPAs and stuff are super popular now. People drink the crap out of them, and it's a big like, oh, what IPA do you like? And I don't like any of them. I don't like a damn single one,
Yeah.
and I never have. I don't have a single tattoo now. I'm kind of a weirdo.
Okay.
I know, right?
But I'm like,
Nobody has no tattoos now.
yeah.
But if I could have had some when I was younger, if I wasn't broke, or I knew some people that actually had good enough skills that I would have done it.
Yeah. Instead of in a garage.
I wanted to have a 211 tattoo on my arm because when I was 13, 14 years old drinking crap beer,
Yeah.
I'd go behind the Smiths in Carson, give a bum a couple of bucks, he'd come back with a couple of Steel Reserves. And that was my party starter, man.
Right.
2 Steel Reserves, high gravity lager, woo!
Yeah.
And besides that, it was PBR. PBR was the shit. But
PBR
again,
Keystone, where you
Oh,
could
God.
get a
Or
case of
Natty Ice
36 for $2.
any
like
of
some
one of those,
ridiculous-
whether it's Busch Light, Natty Light, or Keystone, or any of those variations of that one package that has the same like text but different color and stuff.
yeah, yeah, where it's all the same, but just different manufacturers.
Ugh, stuff smells so bad. It's
we
so
had
disgusting.
We had the same thing where back in the old party days, we had one of those things at Spencer's Gifts where it's the Bongzilla.
Oh yeah.
So it
Oh, yeah.
it can take a 12 pack or a 24 pack,
my
and you fill the thing up to the top, and it's got 8 hoses around.
Oh man.
We would spend $20 on however many things of Keystone Light we could get, fill that thing up, and it wouldn't even have made a dent.
Oh,
You
my
couldn't even
goodness.
tell.
I wish I still had the video or still had some way to find it, but back when Four Loko was lethal,
Yeah.
my brother was a raging alcoholic. He used to be a klepto raging alcoholic, and he showed me a video one time of him beer bonging 2 Four Lokos. Done. And I was just like, yo, what in the hell? I was like, what happened after? He's like, I don't even remember doing it. I was like, really? He was like, oh,
Shocker.
yeah.
It was like if you've been a victim to Four Loko.
Dude, that guy drank a lot, dude. I mean, a lot. And he was, when he was the klepto that he was stealing Goldschlager. That was his drink of choice, was the cinnamon schnapps Goldschlager, and that stuff was rough.
Yeah, it's got real gold in it.
That's what we all thought. It cuts your stomach liner so you get drunk faster. And
Yeah.
as kids, we're like, really?
Oh, super.
It
Let's do
destroys
it.
our insides and gets us messed up. Yeah.
I'll take 3 if you've got them.
Yeah. Come to find out later, it doesn't actually cut your insides, nor is it real gold.
No.
Or any of that.
It's like from Superbad, where it's like, oh, let me get some gold Schlager. And It's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's real gold. No, it's not.
Super
But-
bad. Oh, what a great movie. One of the best of its
That's
generation,
one of
dude. Seriously, one
all-time
of the
favorites.
And you know what? My girlfriend is not a cinema person. She grew up in a religious household, didn't get to see a lot.
Okay.
And when I was like, you ever seen Superbad? She's like, no, I've never seen Superbad. And it blew my mind. I was like, are you kidding me? You've never seen that. But what was heartbreaking was I put it on.
Oh, no.
It wasn't the same though.
Yeah.
It just wasn't the same. Like for me, it hit all the points, because as it's hitting the nostalgia level. For her, it was just like just kind of dumb young kid movie. It's like you don't get it. Damn it, you're not a guy. You don't get it. I guess.
It's like watching an old movie that you just grow up on, and you
Yeah, for sure.
absolutely love that movie, and then you show it to somebody now, and you're like, back when I was a kid, this was amazing.
Yeah,
I showed my wife a movie recently where it was one of my all-time favorite movies. I can't remember the name, but it was an old 90s movie. And it was like, this is one that I grew up on.
This is the pinnacle of my childhood.
And we put it on and we started watching. Oh, I remember. Joe Dirt.
Oh my God.
She had never seen Joe Dirt. But we went to a 4th of July
how do I make
party,
it?
and people are wearing, Husker do's, Husker don'ts, have
Yeah,
the
yeah.
entire firework thing. And everybody's giving her grief the whole time. It was like, you've never seen Joe Dirt. She goes, no. And so we get home, a couple of drinks are in us. I'm like, all right, we're putting on Joe Dirt. I've got it on DVD. Don't worry.
Christopher Walken's in it, dude.
Christopher Walken's the man.
Yes.
I almost had the more cowbell shirt on. But so I put it on for her, and we're watching it, and everything's hitting the right spots for me. And she's kind of laughing at little bits, and she goes, I get why that was a good movie for you when you were a kid. I'm like, if you only watched it
Yeah, if you only understood.
when it came out, you would have been at the you would have been at the same level. It's Joe Dirte.
Is
with
there?
the E on it.
Are you and your significant other? Are you guys in the same age range, kind of?
5 years apart.
5 years apart.
So roughly, yeah.
So my girlfriend is 3 years older than I, and this kind of came up. Kind of funny enough, we're talking about this. This kind of came up recently because they're doing the movies in the park at Wingfield Park, and me and my girlfriend have these vintage Schwinn's that were converted to three-wheelers, and we will load them up in the car, and we go downtown and we ride bicycles around and go eat at like Playfield 76 and go
Yeah.
grass bars or whatever, check stuff out. And just a couple weeks ago, we went there for to do that, and they were playing Princess Bride,
Yeah.
and this might piss a lot of people off. And sorry guys, but you're just have to get over it. But I didn't grow up watching that, so to
Sure.
me, like when I had seen it as an adult, I was like, yeah, it's cute.
It's fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
And like I watched it with her, and she's like the whole time, like she's dying laughing and like, oh wait, this one's gonna watch this, and I'm just like, okay, mediocre. It's like it's a kids kind of
Sure.
like almost kids-ish movie from the late 80s, 90s or whatever. Like okay, and then
If you didn't grow up on it, it's
right.
different.
And
Yeah.
so my aunt is having a really hard time connecting with her 10-year-old son. Go figure.
Yeah.
And they were trying to drag him down to go watch The Princess Bride at Movies in the Park, and I kept telling him, why would you do that? You think a 10-year-old kid now from today's generation has the internet and has whatever type of humor he wants at his discretion is going to want to watch Princess Bride? Like,
Yeah.
not saying that I'm kind of a grump, but I didn't care for it that much.
Sure.
I know he's not going to care for it. Like the humor in it is so for kids at 10 years old
Right.
now. Like, I mean, I watch stuff that he's watching, and it's like, what? This is dribble, dude.
The amount of stuff that just kids are watching nowadays, not to sound exactly like a grumpy old man, but it's the same thing. It's like I posted something where it's like, why are close-ups such a popular thing now? Like, the amount of cutaways that are constantly happening,
Oh, yeah.
and the kids are like,
Bright
this
lights
is-
and flashing colors, dude. That's all that matters.
It's too much. Like when someone's like, "Do you remember these '90s country songs?" and it's right here, and then he goes, "Let's figure out what it is," and all you see is just the close up here. I'm like, "Please, God, just show me the song." Just you didn't have to go closer,
no,
but
no, definitely not.
on that lane. Now that you have started everything, you're getting the band going, you're trying to get things started. Do you have sort of a inspiration that you want to fall down, kind of how we were talking Hank Sr. and kind of the kids that are coming up nowadays? Not all of them are as poppy as like a Florida Georgia Line or something like that, where it's like a Parker McCullum has these songs that are actually written really well,
Right.
and kind of give you that more country vibe, or like a Zach Bryan, like one of these newer kids that are coming up that actually give the songwriting the spotlight. You know what I mean? Do you have kind of an inspiration or a lane that you're kind of going down?
So, again, not to sound like a grumpy old man, because this happens a lot. It happens a lot. And,
I'm a 50-year-old in a 29-year-old body.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah,
get
me
it.
too. Minus the AARP, Fox Network, whatever. But
I still get letters.
right. I don't listen to nearly anything new. Like,
Sure,
I've
yeah.
never heard a Zach Bryan song. I don't know who Parker McCollum is, and it's just
I don't
because
have Bluetooth in my work.
I have
phone.
this
That's why.
horrible mental block on music nowadays for like people that are currently doing it, and it's not anything that I have like against them as artists or writers or anything of the like. I just for some reason can't get behind it. So like if you were to look at what I'm listening to now, Hank Williams is in the rotation. Ernest Tubb is always in the rotation.
Ernest Tubb.
I always
That's a good
love
one.
listening to any new Ernest Tubb, Ray Price, Farron Young. I mean, and I actually feel bad about how I can't do that stuff because I go to so many gigs in town for all these musicians and stuff that are in the country scene, and I'm trying to support them and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I just don't know any of their songs, and not that I don't care, but I kind of don't care
Sure.
because I just can't connect. I have such a hard time connecting, especially because I feel like there's not so much like legitimate singing happening nowadays, kind of, I guess, that like actual shows vocal prowess, as opposed to like someone would be like, oh, you know, Coulter Wall's amazing, right? That dude just sings as low as he possibly can, and it's in key, but it's like I'm not hearing
There's
anything.
no range.
I'm not. It's not pulling me in. The melody's not like trapping me and stuff.
Right.
The songwriting, that's beautiful, but you know, I can go listen to an audiobook, and that's to me virtually the same thing, just with background noise and stuff. And you know, I'm not trying to say that I only like that type of stuff that has melodies, because even my music is a reflection of just what I can produce, and it is nowhere near classic country music. Completely different than classic.
I think
country
it's hard
music.
to replicate that too.
Well, not only that, but it don't sell anymore.
Yeah.
You know, you can build yourself off of playing classic country music, and you can do pretty well. You know, doing stuff, you know, like we talked about earlier with the two different like ways you can go about doing music. You can kind of do your cover band thing where you make money doing that, but like for me, it's not serving me spiritually and emotionally and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Although I love the songs and I get out there and people enjoy them and they have fun, like at the end of the day, I'm not doing anything that anyone's going to remember. I'm just another guy that's just playing in a band that was great the other night.
Yeah.
So, like, it's hard for me to navigate myself. And also going from being a drummer and always sitting back to the guitar players and singers being like, come on, guys, you're supposed to learn the songs, get your shit together, like,
Yeah.
this, whatever. Or, like, you know, you wrote this, why can't you remember it? And I couldn't tell you how many times I've gotten up on stage on a song I wrote 3-some years ago, and I just blank on it. And I'm like, are you serious?
And now the
It's-
roles change.
Yeah, it's just so it's a learning experience, and you know, currently I would say just like in terms of inspiration on what lane I'm choosing, I would definitely say I'm kind of trying to go with an old school approach with a new school influence more so. So I'm trying to push the barrier of like song composition and what would be considered classic country music, but also cater to like what personally I like, which being a huge horror movie kind of guy for the longest time, I really like things more on the darker side. I like the outlaw country, I like the murder ballad style of country music. But at the same time, you know, there's also, I have to write songs about my heart being broken or about loss or about
Yeah.
just, you know, anything really. I mean, who doesn't want to write I mean, I've been with my girlfriend for 7 years now. She is the damn love of my life. And if I could express that in a song that I would be considered like the most beautiful thing in the world to me, because that's what I consider her, then maybe it might be okay, but it's tough, dude.
Yeah.
It's tough, man.
Yeah. Trying to
I'm trying to draw from everywhere, you know what I mean?
trying to have that like vulnerable sense to it.
Right.
Having
Because that's
pen
what
to
music is too,
paper,
is you're connecting.
and you're
you know?
opening up, and you're
Absolutely.
letting people know that this song is you, and trying to come up with the right words or melody or something like that, I would imagine is difficult
Right.
in its own way.
Yeah, and then also to think about it in a business aspect too, because, you know, music business is exactly that, the music business.
Yeah.
Music comes first, but business has to be there as well. And some people can do the business of music, which is fine, where they're more, I mean, look at Lars Ulrich, horrible drummer, I guess everyone says, but phenomenal businessman.
You know his name, like,
Right?
You know who.
Well,
he
I
is?
mean, everyone
Yeah.
knows Metallica. Everyone knows Metallica. But, you know, it's just, it's a tough line to ride to try to emotionally connect with people, be true to yourself, be authentic, and also do something that you think is going to be it's either going to be catchy enough to get people's attention, it's going to be, you know, authentic enough to where people believe in you, because that's another huge thing is, you know, you can be a fantastic musician, but if people don't believe in you, then they're not going to buy it.
Yeah.
And they won't. And I mean, there's people out there that are not fantastic musicians, in my opinion, but they're so believable because they're the real deal that that's what carries them. And that's also the beauty of music too, is, you know, what would have been a flop 20 years ago on a record selling 150,000 records to Sony would be like, ah, drop that guy, he's crap. But if you go do it yourself, do the DIY stuff, like the alt country scene is so popular for now, because we're all ex-punk and metalheads, and we're all used to doing our own DIY stuff.
Yeah.
You know, if I was to go sell 150,000 records off of Bandcamp, and they're $10 a piece, that's $1,500,000 basically,
Yeah.
or whatever the hell the math is. I don't know. That's why I didn't
I didn't
graduate.
write it down.
It's you know, I didn't.
There's
graduate.
zeros. I think
Anyway,
you're close enough. Sure.
Some of the like, but
Yeah.
that just goes to show you that it is possible to be successful as a homebrew musician nowadays, as opposed to what it was back in the day when it was really tough.
Yeah.
And again, I'm trying to open Reno's availability to get those touring acts coming through here that are doing that, to get them in front of people that want to hear them, and also to just get people around here to be able to listen to good country music.
Yeah, which is exactly what we were talking about, where it's like that's kind of an untapped market at this current point. But as you were saying too, it's like everything's kind of the DIY, and it seems like a lot of the times, a lot of people coming up love that nostalgia feel, you know? So if you incorporate something that totes that middle ground of original nostalgia, you know, that, as we were talking about with the kids too, it's like all they're watching is the YouTube or the TikTok or something. God, I sound old. The TikTok on the
TikTok.
YouTubes.
Yep.
And it's like that's mainly all they're watching now. And a lot of people, even from all different ranges, can gain traction just from posting on a social media.
Absolutely. In
You
fact,
know?
that's one thing that I suffer from hardcore is I do not have a social media presence. I don't have videos up of us playing. I don't have recordings of us doing stuff.
Sure.
And it hurts because there's people, again, that you see that are on social media, and like there's this one guy in town, no shade whatsoever, because I would never shade any artist in any way, shape, or form. His name is Red Leather. He's apparently a local.
Okay.
He's got like over 100,000 followers on Instagram and stuff like that. Never seen or heard of him play a single gig in the area whatsoever once. Never seen him do anything. And I'm out here gigging hard. I mean, I think I got upwards of 40 gigs already just this year booked. I'm playing almost every weekend, if not twice a weekend. Sometimes, I mean, I was supposed to have a gig tomorrow, and then we're playing Saturday at Odeon Saloon in Dayton. And then like last week, we played Saturday. I think I had 2 other gigs to go to. We played Tuesday. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a busy
Just
mother
working.
effer. Playing music, and so like it can be a little frustrating when you see some guy, kid, some unknown, whoever this guy is. And he's just got this huge social media presence. He's getting record label fucking deals. He's out there, getting monetized and other stuff like that, and dropping singles. And he's doing it. He's able to work as a musician full time now because he's good at his social media. And like, okay, but there's always merit behind the music. Always.
Yeah.
Always. So, and that's what I've always had an appreciation for music for as well. Like even when it comes to like Justin Bieber or freaking Backstreet Boys or anything that we would consider like sacrilegious in terms of music, like there is some merit behind it. There's always some kind of catchy, decent songwriting, something that it is why it is. And I just haven't, it can be frustrating when you're
Yeah.
out there working your ass off and you
I get that completely.
I guess because I know that it's not just behind the scenes on like the production for like this. I come in here and I sit down and I talk for whatever. It's easy as crap for me, but you guys are gonna be working hours late, mixing, mastering, doing stuff like that. So the behind the scenes is tough, and I can only imagine he does a lot of work on that because I try to do the work on the social media and build that type of stuff, and it hurts my brain.
It's tough. Yeah.
It hurts my brain. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not mechanical. I can't like give it the fonz, hey, and it works again or something, or have a clear determiner of what's wrong and what to fix and make it better. It's a weird place.
Yeah.
It's like being out at sea with not a whole lot, and you're lucky to go by a ship that puts you on board, and then you got all these followers and all that stuff. And that's just kind of how sometimes that is.
Yeah.
But
You see someone catch a ship and you're just catching a block of wood.
yeah, and you're like, well, hold on, what about me? And
Guys, I'm right here.
Yeah, they're all partying on the boat.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Is that La Cucaracha? Come back.
No, I love that song. I'll play it for you. I have the skills.
Guys, I can do it.
No, but
I get it completely.
it can just be, it can be demoralizing in some ways, but at the same time, it's not like I'm doing this because I want anything other than to just do it.
Yeah.
It's like it's a spiritual, emotional, and physical need to do it, and to just be involved in music in general, whether
Yeah.
it's listening to it, promoting it, booking it, playing it, being around it, talking about it, what the heck ever, just I like to say, in a world full of variables, music is my constant.
There you go.
So
yeah,
just roll with it.
I get that completely because a lot of the actors that we have on too, we all feel the same way where it's you have to put the work in, and a lot of the times you put so much effort into it, and you're gonna get no's.
Oh yeah,
Majority of the time.
for sure.
So it's like that's why I think like the entertainment field is a lot of the same because you're putting in so much work and you're seeing this person grow while you're staying right here.
Right.
And then this person's getting bigger and you're putting in work and you see this person keep going. And you just,
Yep.
as tough as it is to,
It can build some bad blood too, which is, in my opinion, stupid.
yeah, because
I want
everybody's
everyone
doing
to
the same
flourish.
thing.
Yeah, I want everyone to flourish. I'm not jealous in any way type of, way towards any musicians in town, whether it be honky tonk or anything, because that's one of the things I think that's beautiful about music and art in general is nobody is the same. I don't care if some guy ripped you off or if, you think some guy is either better than you or not, because that's not what it's about. It's about you connecting with people, expressing yourself, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
And to me, if someone's doing better than me, I would love to help them out as much as I can in any way, shape, or form. And, like I was talking about earlier with the whole like Virginia Street Brewhouse and Cypress and stuff, I want to be that guy too that helps.
Yeah.
From me starting in the music scene, like doing this early, I came from the punk and metal side, and a lot of those guys are the whole, I guess closet country guys, where only a handful of them are like, yeah, I like country music, and pretty much no one else does, which is fine. So me taking such a hard left turn from what I was doing and the people I had been building relationships with and all that stuff, I don't want to say I get little to no support from the people that I try to go out and support and that I have supported in the past and that I did, before. But even when I was with Murder Rock, I was not a very supportive person. I would show up, play my gigs, and leave because I was a very like antisocial type person at the time. I was dealing with a lot of stuff, just I don't know, man. I just wanted to smoke pot. I wasn't a big drinker. I'm a pot smoker. I wanted and they're not letting me smoke in the bar. So as soon as I could get the hell out of there and light a doobie up, I was doing it.
Yeah.
But it just I felt like there was so much no reception from people and like you get no help, and that was really demoralizing. Like again and. I don't think people should have to deal with that. I think that the music scene, especially in a town as small as Reno, even though it seems big, it the hell is not. And I just want to help anybody I can.
Yeah.
If they show interest, one thing Ernest Tubb did, he opened up the record shop in Nashville, Tennessee, and gave lots of people a chance to jump up on stage, including Loretta Lynn, who ended up being one of his, big under wing type people. But, I really want to create a place where people can feel safe and come and do whatever the hell they want, regardless, and not feel judged, and have the chance to get your 30 minutes in, create real connections with people and fans, and just be inspired.
Yeah.
All of the above, and not make anyone feel like they don't have a place or they're not good enough. Because so what if someone maybe right now isn't good enough? That doesn't matter. If they're inspired and they stay on it, they will become good enough.
Yeah.
Hard work is better than talent if talent doesn't work hard. So, you just got to get out there and cut your teeth hard.
Yeah.
I'm cutting my teeth way hard, and it's tough. But at the same time, like if I don't get that show experience under my belt, and because I'm a front man, I need to work the crowd. I need to talk to people. I need to be sociable. You can't do that if you don't do it.
Under your belt.
Yeah, if you don't do it, you're never going to get good at it. So
yeah, it's much like that quote where they say, "Luck is when like opportunity meets."
Right.
It's a little bit longer than that, but the same thing is like as long as you're out there doing it and you're putting the work in, then that's how you get seen, and that's how you grow, and that's how you get better, and that's how you continue to do the thing that you love to do, and that's how it keeps going. Much like musicians, actors, any of us, if you keep going, you can find that one little spot that all of a sudden skyrockets.
We're all looking for our big break, aren't we?
Exactly. Well, Zach, I want to say thank you for coming in here.
Yeah, of course.
We're going to get you out of here. Before we do, go ahead and promote anything else you'd like to promote, websites, socials, anything like that.
Okay, so again,
follow.
Mr. Johnson Reno is going to be the Facebook and Instagram. One word, no dots, no dashes, no underscores, none of that. Mr. Johnson Reno, Facebook and Instagram. Keep your eyes peeled for the live at 40 Mile Hot August Nights recording that we'll be doing. I got a gig at Odeon Saloon in Dayton. That is actually the oldest venue in Nevada.
Wow.
Dayton is arguably the first establishment in Nevada, if you are in the Nevada lore, and that was one of the original places where people showed up to have fun and play and stuff. So, Odeon Saloon on Saturday, that will be 8/12, and then just make sure you check out Mr. Johnson's Roundup, September 28th at the Cellar, Altera's Bar. Thursday, it'll be a dang good time. I just released the flyer, so jump on the social medias, check it out, and we'll go from there, guys. We'll see you then.
Perfect. Well, Zach, once again, thank you
Yeah.
for coming in. You guys heard it here. Remember to like, follow, subscribe. Us here as well. Stephen Longley, Longley's Line, Lightstyle Studio. We'll talk to you guys next week. Cool.
Right on, dude. Thanks,
Perfect.
Steve.
Thanks.